Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to yet another Heroes Lounge Super Sunday Showdown. I'm Karis, and I will have another guest this week, and some may know him as Heroes Lounge's content manager, social media manager, you might say. Also known as the Fresh Prince of Northern England, is Poppin' Fresh.
It's me. Hello. Hello, everyone. Thank you for the kind introduction.
It was very terse. So, we've got a Division 7 corker of a game coming up very shortly here on Heroes Lounge Super Sunday Showdown, which is the Hidden Claw versus Facepalm Tacticians. Now, Puppin, what do we know about these two teams and what they're fighting for today?
So they are both in Division 7, as you mentioned. They're sitting on 3 and 4 wins apiece, respectively. So both teams still well in with a chance of qualifying for the Rare Cup, if they can, get a few wins in starting off tonight. So it's definitely not a meaningless game. Both teams will be eager to secure a win, I would expect.
Yeah, absolutely. They will both be fighting here for sure. I mean, I get the impression from the standings that if the Hidden Claw loses this game, their chances of playoffs are basically gone. Whereas Facepalm Tacticians, maybe they can afford to give away a match, but maybe not actually, being as there are only 3 matches left for them this season. I mean, obviously both of these teams want to make it to that all-important Heroes Lounge Rare Cup, don't they?
Yes. So Facepalm Tacticians did make it to the Rare Cup last season, so they will probably have that set as sort of a minimum target for themselves. They want to get there again. They got to the knockout stage where they lost to Fat and Nova. So yeah, I think they'll be definitely eager to qualify again. The Hidden Claw, who were known as Fat Mobile last season, as they are a former free agent team, they only missed out because of inferior map wins. So if that was me, I would be a little frustrated and I'd be wanting to sort of qualify this season and rectify it. But
yeah, they're really eager to get themselves back into the playoffs. So maybe for those of you who don't know, the Rare Cup consists of the top 8 teams from Division 6 and the top 8 teams from Division 7 after their 10 rounds of normal league play. And this is going to be match number 8 for tonight's teams. So after this one, they've only got 2 more to play. And so far, Facepalm Tacticians currently in 9th place. So really keen to get that extra win to take themselves into the top 8. And of course, they will still need, of course, some wins in their remaining matches. Yeah, so definitely these teams really will be keen to get into those playoffs, as you say. I mean, I'm interested to hear that that the Hidden Claw was a fat team. So for viewers who maybe are new to Heroes Lounge, a free agent team, sometimes called Fat because of the names they get given. Sorry, not those we could randomly call them Fat. I mean, because it stands for free agent team. They are teams. It's one way to sign up for Heroes Lounge is you just sign up as a free agent, and you get matched automatically with other players of a similar kind of MMR-ish, and then that's one. If you don't have a preformed team, that's one way to enjoy competitive Heroes of the Storm. And some of those teams go on to to stay together, as in this case with the Hidden Claw, and continue to play competitive in the lounge. Have you ever played in a free agent team, Poppin?
I haven't, no. I was I was picked up by a team in my first season, so it was meeting new people. It wasn't I didn't join with friends or anything like that or create a team, but yeah, no free agent experience now. But yeah, it's nice to see these free agent teams stick together. It's nice to think that the lounge has created friendships and it's nice and wholesome.
Yeah. It is good. It's nice. I mean, I'll be honest. Free agent teams can be tough because not everyone comes into a free agent team with the same expectations, and you're not always used to playing together. Whereas typically when you come into lounge as a team of 5 friends or something, you are used to playing, with those people together, and you have a certain feel of the synergy between you. Obviously, free agent team, we do our best to match people together, but not everyone works well together. But generally, I started out in Heroes Lounge in a free agent team. Fat number 4, because in those days they didn't have names. That's how long ago it was. Fat number 4 in, God, I think Division 2, many many seasons ago, back when there were only five divisions.
Oh, very interesting.
So we're still waiting for the map bans to come in from these players. So we just, I believe we have actually. Oh, sorry, I think we have actually seen some map bans. We don't know which
Yes.
map has been picked yet.
That's
So,
right.
so which maps have been banned so far?
So Facepalm Tacticians have banned out Dragonshire and Sky Temple, and the Hidden Claw have banned out Alterac Pass and Cursed Hollow.
Okay, so yeah, I mean definitely banning the big macro maps there by the Hidden Claw. They don't want to play on those large maps and kind of get pulled around the map. Suggest them going for more of a team fighting kind of focus. Sky Temple, not so surprising to see there in the bans from Facepalm Tactician. Dragonshire, a touch more surprising, but again, nothing too radical.
Yeah, I've noticed that the Hidden Claw have picked Cursed Hollow twice themselves, and they've lost both times. So I think it's shifted from a map that they're quite happy to pick up to one that they want to ban.
Fair enough, fair enough. But the thing is, though, I'm not sure that's the right approach because when you pick a map, it means you also don't get first pick in terms of heroes in the draft, and so it doesn't. The fact that they were losing on Cursed Hollow when they picked it doesn't necessarily mean they would be losing on Cursed Hollow if the enemy picked it. If you get what I mean. So maybe they
Yeah,
shouldn't have banned it. I mean, I don't know. I'm no expert. Lord knows it's a tough call to make always. Is working out which maps do I want to play on as a team and which ones don't I want to play on, because sometimes the statistics are misleading and you feel like, well, we played well here but we still lost, and it's very tough. And of course you've got to counter your opponents and deal with what your opponents want to do. I can see people in the chat, by the way, already eagerly looking at their numbers of points. We will, once the draft starts, we will get some betting on the go to allow you to bet on who you think is going to win each of these games in tonight's best of 3 series. So while we wait for the teams to get set up, I'll just remind everyone, because we were just talking about playoffs and how these teams are trying to get playoffs. The Heroes Lounge Draw Show is the start, in a sense, of the playoff season, and it's going to be here on this channel on Sunday the 5th of July. And that's where you see the teams drawn into their groups for the group stages of the playoffs live with analysis by various guests. I think you've been on the draw show before, haven't you, Poppin?
I haven't actually. No, I have paired the highlight reel for it.
Okay.
Twice, but I've never featured. No. Who knows?
Well,
To this will be the season.
Who knows?
We'll have to wait and see.
Yeah. Well, we only get a couple of guests each. Two to four guests each season. Yeah. So to get in as an analyst, but we'll see. I don't know who's sorting that out. I probably should know that, but anyway, that's all being sorted out. But there will be a draw show, whether or not it's got Pop and Fresh involved. There will be a draw show on Sunday the 5th of July at, I believe, 8 p.m. CEST on this channel. So definitely tune in for that. It's kind of the big celebration, in a sense, that the Heroes Lounge community comes together to celebrate the starting of the playoff groups, and it's always good fun, isn't it?
It is. I always enjoy watching it. And I mean, this will be the first season that my team isn't involved since I joined Lounge. But ignoring the first one. After a few seasons of qualifying for the playoffs, this is the first one that we're not going to. So, but I'm still going to enjoy it because it is really fun to watch. So.
We've just got a result in, by the way, from a Division 3 match that's been going on, and this is actually very right because the latest Rigged article, and by the way, for those of you who don't know, Poppin writes an excellent series called Rigged on Heroes Lounge blog, heroeslounge.gg, and it looks forward to some of the the upcoming matches. And the one you wrote for this week, a couple of days ago, features Mod Level Rising versus Dingsitas. Well, that match has now been played, and shall I give away spoilers? Well, yeah, I mean, the match has happened now, so you've either seen it or you haven't. Mod Level Rising lost, and I believe that's Mod Level Rising's first defeat this season.
I genuinely don't believe it. Wow.
Yeah, I mean, I was as shocked as as anyone, and because I've played against Modern Level Rising in lots of scrims and stuff, and lost every time. So, so it's definitely a surprising result. So Modern Level Rising, maybe the chicken in Division 3 armor there, showing their first sign potentially of weakness, although they're still very much the front runners in Division 3, and the ones definitely a team to watch for the Legendary Cup. I mean, some of the other matches, to talk us through the rigged article that you've written recently, Poppin. I mean, are there any other matches you think we really need to keep an eye out on?
So there was one of the little sort of themes of the article was undefeated teams, and there was 3 of them left up to this point, from this afternoon. So we've just seen one of them face their first defeat. So in Division 6, we've got Beehive, which I have typoed in the article, and I'm going to fix now as I talk. Yes, Beehive in Division 6, they're also 7 wins from 7, so they're up against Stray Dogs at some point in the next week. And Just Cause in Division 7, they're also undefeated after 7 matches, so it'll be interesting to see. You know, I wasn't expecting Mold Level Rising to lose. Nothing against Dingsas, I've played against them before, they're very strong, but I was expecting Mold Level Rising to win that, so it'll be interesting to watch these other matches. And
yeah, and you can probably check out the video of that on twitch.tv/Halloween Heroes. They will, I think, because Halloween and Tetcher have been casting that match, which has now finished, and so that'll be the VOD of that will be available on the Halloween stream, I should imagine. So there has been a map picked for game number 1 in tonight's best of 3 here on Heroes Lounge Super Sunday Showdown, and we're going to Infernal Shrines for game number 1, as picked, I believe, by Facepalm Tacticians. Now, Infernal Shrines, it's what do you make of Infernal Shrines as a map here, as a map choice, I should say? You know, what does that tell us about the way these teams want to play it?
So we noticed that they want to, they wanted to remove the bigger macro maps. So Infernal Shrines still an element of macro, but there's a nice bit of focus on the team fighting on the shrine, isn't there? So that might point towards a bit of a preference for Facepalm Tacticians. Just having a look. They have picked it up once before this season, as of their opponents, so no clear preference for the map, but
I think, in fairness, Infernal Shrines is a map that basically every team has to play on at some point, because it is generally the most picked map in Heroes Lounge. I mean, Volskyr sometimes competes with it, but those 2 maps definitely very popular, and Infernal Shrines tends to be universally played by all teams.
Yeah.
So
it stands out when you see a team that bans it regularly. Shows how much it's played.
Well, I better stop going on about that, because we better go into the draft here in game number 1, and there's best of 3. We're on Infernal Shrines, and with first pick, it's going to be the Hidden Claw. Now, what are these teams going to be banning here? Is it going to be kind of a focus on meta bans, looking at the Tastar, which has seen a lot of problems recently, the recently buffed Cassia, maybe the Rhaegar for that Bloodlust, or do we see these teams target more the comfort picks of their opponents here in Division 7?
Yeah, it's a tough one, and obviously the meta changes as you go throughout the divisions. Kael'thas is a common ban, sort of towards the lower divisions. Neither of these teams have shown a strong preference for him, so maybe we won't see that here. I've seen that Hidden Claw have definitely been taking advantage of Rhaegar's recent popularity. So we could see them pick that up here, or more likely they'll have it banned out against them, if I had to guess.
Okay, that is interesting though. So you think they are going to go for Rhaegar if they can, and do they play Bloodlust with that? Because that's typically why we've seen Rhaegar so popular at the moment. As Azmodan, by the way, gets first banned.
I haven't checked every single one of their matches, although I'm sure I checked. I saw one Bloodlust and I thought that's enough for me. They definitely know about Bloodlust, so.
Yeah. Okay. So yeah, they definitely play it at least a bit.
Yes.
Okay, so with that in mind, we've seen two slightly unorthodox bans there in the form of Asmodan. Joanna not unorthodox. I mean, fair play. Joanna's a fairly common ban. I should clarify. What do you make of the Asmodan ban? What's that about?
Well, I guess it's a good map for him. I suppose the lanes are fairly close. He can put a lot of damage out on that shrine. I didn't know that the Hidden Claw had played him too much.
Oh, well, it's the Hidden Claw who's, unless I've misread something.
No, yeah, sorry.
The Hidden Claw has banned Asmodan, yeah, and it's Facepalm who
My
banned
mistake.
Rhaegar.
Sorry about that.
But Kael'thas picked up there. I mean, as you rightly predicted, Kael'thas so prioritized here in Division 6 and 7. But that leaves the Tassadar open, who's seeing kind of more of that. You know, he seems to be very strong in the meta in the higher divisions at the moment. And certainly in Storm League, you see Tassadar getting banned or picked early a lot because he seems to be able to put out a serious amount of damage, and those walls are so disruptive. So
I think it works.
Do you think
it works
the
so well
Tassadar is
with
going to be a
that?
problem?
I think so. I think it works so well with the ETC because it's so easy for the ETC to slide someone, and then Tassadar just throws his abilities on it, and it's a ridiculous amount of damage, isn't it? It's so easy to hit. It's on a low cooldown. You know, it's almost like a miniature wombo. You know, if you land that on someone, maybe not a Blaze, but anyone else, and they're going to be in trouble, especially if they have a force wall behind them to prevent any sort of retreat. So
I like that Blaze main tank. I think that's main tank Blaze there from Virtual. I could be wrong because that's one of the advantages, I suppose, of picking a Blazer fairly early in the draft is you can put him in the off lane or in the main tank position. But I think it will be a main tank Blaze, in which case he's probably going to go for that new habit, gives him the unstoppable, and that allows him then to interrupt mosh pits. If he's got his unstoppable active, bang, just throw a charge in, and that'll disrupt the ETC, as well as giving the bunker for his teammates to escape into when necessary. By the way, for viewers who want to get some virtual points betted on the outcome of this first game in our best of 3 series, you can type !bet A and a number of points to bet on the Hidden Claw, and !bet B and then a number to bet on Facepalm Tacticians, as Cassia is picked up by Scrat with Decad for Wuzdragon. Cassia, Tassadar, I mean, those are two strong meta Storm League-ish picks at the moment. With the ETC main tank, you have to say that right now the Facepalm Tacticians draft looks very meta. But the question is it comfort for those players? Because, you know, adapting to new heroes isn't always the best approach.
yeah, that's true. Also of note that the Facepalm Tacticians are playing with 2 substitutes for this match, so we'll have to see how that affects them if they are having to sort of mix up the strategies and, you know, not play the usual comps that they're used to. So that might be a factor in the Cassia being picked up by Scrat there, who's one of the substitutes.
I have to say, both teams have got very well-rounded comps. I like this Zul idea, by the way, from the Hidden Claw, allowing potentially double soak, but also great kind of brawly play on the shrines themselves, great kind of shrine clear, wave clear, and definitely a strong hero. And of course, with that Blaze frontline as well, it's kind of quite aggressive, very kind of bruiserish kind of comp here from the Hidden Claw. So we'll have to see how that works out for them in game number 1. But wait, who do you think's got the edge in this draft, Poppin?
Well, I've just placed a bet. I think the Facepalm Tacticians. I like the amount of damage and control they've got with the ETC and the Decad, and I can see that I can see Zul possibly struggling a bit. I know he is quite sustaining at times, but I think he's going to struggle to get in and do Zul things. They might prove me wrong here, but I think he will struggle to get value.
Yeah, fair enough. I think it depends on, of course, ultimately execution. But yeah, we'll have to see what these teams can make of this situation. I did put a little bit on the blue team here on the Hidden Claw. I do just like the aggression of their comp and the ability to sustain brawl, but again, if ETC can control those frontliners of Blaze of Zul, then maybe Zul won't be able to do anything. Maybe Cassie's going to blind Zul, so he can't go for an auto attack based build. We'll have to see though what happens as we go into game number 1 in this best of 3 series. And on the left in blue, it's the Hidden Claw with Virtual on Blaze, Ryu on Kael'thas, Jixinote on the Zul, Alex Kidd on Malfurion, and Meaty Batwing on Greymane.
And on the right hand side we have Facepalm Tacticians with Vidra on Tassadar, WS Dragon on Deckard, Scrat on Cassia, and they're all shaking around to make it hard for me to see them. Jack Sully on ETC, and I'm Guy on UL.
So, let's see how this plays out. Both teams come to the mid looking for the early brawl. It is the new habits from Blaze, exactly as I was talking about, that will allow him to kind of step up to ETC and not get CC too hard. And of course, when there's a mosh pit going on, it means he can interrupt it. I was going to quote the legendary Zanehyde and say, there's a thing he used to say, which is, if you're on Blaze and you feel you have to take new habits, you probably should have picked Joanna. But of course, Joanna was banned, so fair enough. Virtual picking up the Blaze in lieu of Joanna. One minion of Soak missed in the mid there by the Hidden Claw as they rotate down to the bot and try to put a bit of pressure there.
ETC's picked up Rock. At what point, so the blue team have a Greymane, at what point would you consider taking, my mind's gone blank.
Block Party.
Block Party.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm not sure, you know, I mean, I personally think Block Party is really good, and I probably would have gone Block Party myself here against that Greymane and Zul, and you just kind of, it just means, it's not just about ETC's tankiness, which is sizable, but it stops the enemy team being bursted by, you know, sorry, it stops his whole team being bursted by Greymane so easily, so definitely, I think Block Party could have been a decent consideration here, but Progrock, fairly safe, you know, you never go too wrong with it, as Cassia and ETC look in for an engage on Greymane, but the Meaty Batwing escapes sensibly. Is that from World of Warcraft, that name, Meaty Batwing? Is that like a drop that things...
Yeah, it rings a bell, I think it might be, I think you're right.
Probably used in cooking somehow.
Yeah.
Level 4s are in though. And ETC gone for the speed metal, which I really rate. I think that gives ETC a lot of ability to kind of catch up to the enemy and engage. But what it won't do, and this is where it could be a problem for him, is it won't allow him to push Zul and Blaze and Greymane away from his team as much as maybe he was hoping to. And maybe because I think that was what you were talking about in the setup there, Poppin, is ETC's got to stop Blaze and Zul from getting free real estate.
Yes, definitely. And bit of a fight over the camp there. Yeah, I think he could have got some value out of the cooldown talent there, but I'm with you, I do like speed metal, I think it is very useful.
So, with that in mind, Jack Sully stepping up. I mean, I really like this tank play from Jack Sully, really playing aggressively, but... Or maybe he's overstepped, maybe I've spoken too soon, gets caught in the towers, but a nice step from Blaze, but sidesteps away with 300 HP remaining. So, will ETC Hearth now and get all his mana and health back, or will he tap? I think he's going to go and tap, and we do see Jack Sully going to do that right now. And Rel going to have a check on this top left bruiser camp, making sure that the enemy team is not doing it for free. Imgui there on the Rel. And now, with Kael'thas able to start a shrine, this is where the red team starts to need to look for an engage here. Meaty Batwing's gone in pretty deep, and he's just getting CC by the ETC, but manages to walk away with 200 HP. Nice bit of healing there from Malf, keeps Meaty Batwing alive. And for now, Greymane gets away with his life, and Jack Sully might be next to pay. Here's a root, great roots there from Alex the Kid on the Malfurion, and ETC's paid for it with his life. Alex Kid, though, got to be careful, as Irel and Cassia both chasing, looking for counter kills on the Kael'thas as well. Just the one.
Hidden Claw was very lucky there, a number of heroes getting very low. We saw Greymane very lucky to get out. It was the Eyes in the Dark talent on level 4, which, I mean, the stealth was enough really just to help him escape there. Nobody could decloak him, but Malfurion was very low. He did go down in the end, but probably could have gone down a bit sooner, I thought. But a good fight.
Yeah, good fight. And I tell you what, Facepalm Tacticians take the first Punisher of the game. It is an arcane Punisher, which generally these days not so strong at pushing. Especially with the tower changes, that means that enemy heroes can't really commit too deep to help it. But it looks like it's getting those 2 towers pretty easily, if nothing else, for now.
Yeah, Facepalm Tacticians, I think they acknowledged that. They sent ETC bot to soak, Urel top. They were happy just getting the towers, I think, and they've stolen their opponent's siege camp here.
Yeah, lovely cheeky little camp steal. Yeah, well played, the Facepalm Tacticians, showing how to control the map without committing to anything too dangerous. So, nice little play there from FPT, and they are now 3/4 of a level in the lead. If we take a look at where that XP comes from, you'll see that most of it, in fact, is from minion soak, an extra 2.5k in minion soak, because just how the map control that Facepalm Tacticians have had, and of course the brilliant soaking that Irel has been doing so far. It does seem like the Zul isn't able to double soak yet. I mean, why do you think that is, Poppin?
I was just thinking that myself, actually. I'm not sure. I have been flicking up every so often, and Urel's being very aggressive into him and making it hard for him to just Zul the wave down, like he does very quickly. So I think it's partly down to the Urel play. Like I say, just getting in his face as she is right now. Just making it difficult for him. I think the blue team could just commit to bot a bit more, and then just Zul could have a go at double soaking. I think that would be worth it. Otherwise, there'll be a point where you could say, well, why don't we just pick a different offlaner?
Yeah, possibly, yeah. And with that in mind, level 10 is reached for Facepalm Tacticians, who have skilled themselves level 10, and they have Mosh Pit, they have Stay a While and Listen. By the way, welcome everyone from Halloween stream. As there's a massive fight going on, the Mosh Pit immediately onto 3 members. Jack Sully's making the whole enemy team dance, and Greyman's the first to fall here. They're going to go for Ryu's Kael'thas as well. The Deckard Kane with the cube finishes the job. Brilliant stuff there from Facepalm Tacticians, who dive this fort. They're not finished. They want to catch Alex the Kid. Alex the Dead, more like, as Jack Sully goes in and secures that kill. I was just saying, welcome everyone from Halloween and Tetcha's stream. You're watching Division 7's The Hidden Claw versus Facepalm Tacticians, where Facepalm Tacticians have taken a 1-fort lead, and we're in game number 1 in this best of 3 Division 7 series.
That's a very nice fight taken by the Facepalm Tacticians. They had the level 10 advantage, and you could tell they wanted to exploit that. So they forced the fight with the Mosh Pit. It was beautiful. They got Blaze in it, they got Kael'thas in it, so there was no interrupt available. Got those kills and the fort.
Yep, and it's really well executed. Now, one thing is they did commit all of their ultimates for that on the side of Facepalm Tacticians. And so now that the talents are even, this is the time, really, for the Hidden Claw to take this fight while the Mosh Pit is on cooldown. In fact, the Stay While and Listen has come back already. Excuse me. So it's all about now whether the Hidden Claw can make something happen with the Mosh Pit down, and they don't seem to be forcing, partly because Tassadar and Irel are zoning the Zul out, but that means there's a 4v3 at the bottom shrine, so the Hidden Claw want to engage here.
Yeah. Because the Hidden Claw were a bit late getting there, it's given Deckard a chance to scatter a few potions about, which isn't ideal, but the teams are coming together now.
In goes Blaze, puts a lot of pressure on that backline. He's been put to sleep, but Greyman wasn't put to sleep, and he did manage to zone Cassia a little bit. But in comes Jack Sully to peel. Meaty Batwing falling low, could hide in the bunker, chooses to disengage with the stealth as well. But in comes Irel. Imgui doing so much value on this Irel, jumping around, and Jixinat on the Zul, first to fall. Now the silence comes out onto Irel and to ETC. It's a massive counter silence from Alfurion, causes the ETC down, and he's dead. And so now it's 1-for-1 so far. Blaze trying to catch onto Cassie, gets the stun. Virtual doing great tank play here on the Blaze, but the Punisher is picked up by Facepalm Tacticians with their level 13.
It's amazing how sort of sustaining Cassia is now. She was just didn't stop running at the enemy then and dishing out that amazing damage that she can do now. Kael'thas got out on 90 health there, which is very lucky and fortunate, and I think that'll definitely help with the defense here.
Yeah, and I think it looked like a pretty good fight for the Hidden Claw at first. I'm surprised he didn't force it a little bit sooner, because of the that they thought that Tassadar was top, and only Yuzul was. So Yuzul versus Tass and Irel at the top. So I'm surprised that Blaze didn't go in a little bit hotter. Blaze and Gremlin did go in very deep, but then Deckard stay a while and listen kind of stalled that a little bit, and Facepalm were able to run to the towers and stuff. So it was just not quite the coordinated engage that that maybe was needed by the Hidden Claw. But a good fight nonetheless, and particularly Alex the Kid on the Malfurion with a great Twilight Dream secured the ATC kill.
Yeah, I thought that'd be a big turning point, but yeah, they weren't able to turn the objective in their favour, unfortunately.
Valkyrie onto Greymane. Cleanse comes out from Malfurion, but ETC slides in. He has the Mosh Pit available, but he gets gravity lapsed by Kael'thas, and Meaty Batwing still alive there with 280 HP. Zul throws out the Poison Nova, more or less just to try to disengage and force everyone away. Blaze uses his bunker, sidesteps it away, and Virtual will live. And no kills there either way.
Yeah, 3 heroics used by the Hidden Claw there, Poison Nova, Twilight Dream and Bunker, and then Stay a While and Valkyrie used on the side of the red team. So red team could look for a fight here, or they might just try and wait it out for level 16, which they'll reach before their opponents.
I mean, credit to Ryu on the Kael'thas, whose Gravity Lap stopped ETC from getting more value there in that fight. Because if ETC had got a Mosh Pit or something, that could have been big money. Oh, that's a nice route from Alex the Kid onto Malfurion. Jack Sully gets away there with a slide though, and of course has the speed metal, so can disengage pretty well.
Surprised to see neither Zul or Tassadar go down there. They were both in very tricky positions, but both managed to G-Def just about.
Right, they've just seen Irel Hearth. Is this the time that they should force here, the Hidden Claw? No, they're not going to. This was their last chance pre-16, and they just saw Irel Hearth. I feel like maybe that was the window for them to jump in through, but they've decided to play a bit more cautious, just make sure they get the soak. Fair enough, solid play, getting, you can't really argue with the 2 lanes of soak, because Zul is now able to secure in that bottom mid, but maybe they'll have to give up this top fort.
Yeah, it's looking like it's a bad time to give away that top well. I agree with you, they should have forced the fight there. They should just about get 16 for the objective, I think, but they will be doing it without that well and fort to fall back on.
It's also a bit difficult for them to soak this 16 right now. Are they contesting this camp? I don't think they are. No, I think they rightly say, look, we're a talent down here. We've got to give our Bruiser camp away. It's a bit difficult for them to soak 16. I was just saying because the lane is quite far out, so Zul can't just go walking to the middle of bot lane on his own, because he'll be completely exposed to ganks. So Jixi Note is rightfully going a bit safer with his team, although there is some juicy soak to be had in the mid, and that's been spotted, and they are going to go and soak that now.
Yeah, so despite what I said about 20 seconds ago, it doesn't look like they're going to quite get 16 in time. If the red team really focus this shrine, they should be able to confirm it before their opponents catch up on their talents, which makes it a bit more harmful for the blue team that they have lost that fort, and that's going to be pushing on to the keep now, the Punisher.
Yeah, that's a good point, and it means that that's the thing, is sometimes you say, well, we can give a Punisher, and we can just, if it's going on a fort, we can accept it's going to get a fort, and we could get a fort, for example, in response to the bot lane. I don't think the Hidden Claw can even get that bottom fort now, but even if they did, this Punisher's going on a keep, and that's significant, as well as the fact that it's got a Bruiser camp walking along with it, raising those wolves. And this is a tough situation now for the Hidden Claw, because one misplay here and they could lose the game.
Definitely. I think it was a good idea to get the camps. They've got pressure in the other lanes now, so that gives the red team something to think about, at least. But yeah, they need to be careful here.
Punisher jumps in. Blaze has used the Unstoppable, so he's going to get away, but it's a frozen Punisher. The Valkyrie, though. The Valkyrie onto Zul with the ETC slide to follow. This is a lovely CC combination. Blaze tries to counter-engage. He was going to put the bunker there for his teammate, but it was too little too late. Zul's already dead. Greymane gets caught by the Punisher now, too far away from the bunker to get advantage of that. And the Punisher's still going with half health, by the way. And, of course, Zul is dead.
Mosh pit's still up. We could still see that here. Doesn't look like they'll get much more than the keep. It looks like they are edging towards backing off here, unless they see an opportunity for a kill on the Blaze, possibly.
I I love the way Virtual's playing here on the Blaze, but that's not going to save Greymane from that Cassia damage. Absolutely savage there from Scrat. And with this second kill here, they're thinking about core. Ryu uses the shield, might be able to survive. Lovely escape there from Ryu. And maybe, just maybe, the Hidden Claw can hold out here.
Yeah, Urel for the red team has gone to capture the siege camp, and she's sort of cleared up the camps that were pressuring the other two lanes. I think that was a good objective. They got the keep. Red team didn't lose anyone. They've extended the lead by getting a couple of kills as well, so they'll be happy with that. But yeah, it's lucky for the Hidden Claw that they didn't lose the game there. I think if they'd have grouped up a little bit and given ETC the chance for a mosh pit, that could have been game.
Yeah, that's a mosh pit though, right there, onto 3 members, the Valkyrie on top, onto Malfurion, gets pulled in, stay a while and listen as well, and Malfurion gets melted, but Cassia did die in response, but the door's been shut by the Archon Tassadar. Vitra going to town here, onto the Kael'thas, Irel wants to chase him, but there's a lovely route there from Zul in the keep, but the Absorb comes out, Irel wants to chase, Greymane falling down to 100 HP and steps all the way back to the core. It's a miraculous 1-for-1 here for the Hidden Claw.
Yeah, when that mosh pit hit, I was fearing the worst for the blue team, but yeah, they managed to salvage that and get a kill themselves. They are sort of 2.25 levels behind now, and their opponents have level 20, so they've kind of got free reign and they can just take this keep now.
But it's not over yet, right?
It's not over yet.
Now this is the challenge. Can they deal with this Irel, who is on this core? Oh, Greymane, that's deep.
Greymane.
That's very deep with very little health, but Irel's falling low. Imgui does not have the Absorb available. That was already used. Has 50 armor there. And ETC in there. Does Jack Sully have the death metal? Yes, he does. And it hits onto 2 members. From the Beyond the Grave, the harp's being played. And Malfurion and Zul take a pounding, but not enough. And Blaze doing such a good job of zoning here. Stay a while and listen comes out onto Zul, and the Blaze presses the bunker. Survives for now. Wants to chase onto this Decade, and Zul's going to town. But Tassadar rips Malfurion a new one. So now there's no healer available for Zul and Blaze, and they're trying to chase onto 3 members, but the Valkyrie misses, and Zul might get away, but Malfurion is dead, and this is a tough situation now for the Hidden Claw.
Yeah, Kael'thas was clearing the wave top, so maybe a bit of miscommunication there between the two teams, and Blaze goes down, he swooshes right into that Tassadar laser and goes down. Not great timing for that.
Yeah, and
the red team are getting some serious core damage in now.
The Archon is doing so much. Vidra on the Tassadar. GG's been called by Jack Sully. It looks like it's all over. Meaty Batwing wants to step up and deal with 3 members, but it's not going to be enough. It's going to be GG. Well played. Game number 1 going over to Facepalm Tacticians.
Yeah, there was a moment there at the end, as I was starting to mention, that Kael'thas started calling. His team were chasing for those kills, despite being at a bit of a disadvantage. Talent-wise, I feel it might have just been a little bit of a miscommunication. They should have backed off and cleared as a team, perhaps, rather than splitting at that point, which did lead to them losing the game in the end. But
yeah, and I think it was a tough situation for the Hidden Claw once the enemy got to level 20 first. It was a really tough situation. I mean, the Tassadar damage, and the thing is, the fights looked sometimes very good for the Hidden Claw, and I really liked the way Virtual played up Blaze and zoned quite a lot of his opponents there. But the Tassadar with the Twilight Archon at the end, just doing so much work, and Vidra with 62,000 hero damage at the end of the game. By the way, I just want to say again, thank you to Halloween and Tetcher for raiding over to us in the middle of that cast. You're watching Division 7's The Hidden Claw versus Facepalm Tacticians. It's a best of 3 where Facepalm Tacticians are now 1-0 up. And I believe Facepalm Tacticians need to win this series in order to have a chance at qualifying for the Heroes Lounge Rare Cup. So, that was a pretty intense game number 1. What is it that the Hidden Claw need to do differently, in your opinion, Poppin, in order to turn this series around?
Let me think. So I thought they were quite strong in team fights there. I think it came down to maybe smaller, more decisive macro decisions from Facepalm Tacticians. I feel like they just sort of had, in quite a few fights there, they just had an edge with a bit of a level lead. The Hidden Claw, they picked up the Zul, and as we mentioned, they didn't really get much double soaking value from him, so I think that was that was influential, and might have cost them in the end.
Yeah, I agree. I think it's about when they were taking the fights in a sense. Like when the fights were happening, actually, the Hidden Claw were doing pretty well, and I liked the aggression of their comp. And Zul and Blaze got a lot of value, but they didn't seem to take the fights when they needed to, if you know what I mean, like when they're close to being a talent down and stuff like that. So not quite coordinated on taking the fights when they had to. So that's something they'll be reflecting on before they get into game number 2. What in terms of draft? I mean, I think draft was okay. I mean, I know you said from the draft that Facepalm Tacticians appeared to have the edge. Is that because of the stronger heroes of Tassadar and Cassio, which Facepalm Tacticians deployed to deadly effect, or is it just the kind of well-rounded nature of their comp?
I think that there was definitely a few points where we saw that damage come out, and yeah, so to an extent, I think it is those heroes being very strong at the moment, and the Hidden Claw just chose not to respect those heroes and their power. But yeah, like I said, I sort of mentioned before the match during the draft that picking that Zul as the offlaner can be a bit weak if you're not getting the value from him double soaking. And I feel like Zul struggled against all that damage. They could have done with, more of an off tank rather than a bruiser like Zul. I think they would have benefited from that, maybe.
Yeah, that's quite possible. I think in the very late game, he seemed to get some good value, but maybe in that early mid game, he wasn't getting that double soak kind of global pressure that you sort of need from a Zul. So maybe he kind of got a bit bullied by the Arel pick there. So still, that's just one game out of potentially 3, and there's still everything to play for. Towers of Doom has been picked by the Hidden Claw, so they want to pick a map here for game number 2. What do you make of that Towers of Doom pick?
Well, I'm excited. It's always an exciting map, unless it's a complete stomp, but typically Towers of Doom means excitement. Lowest possibility for comebacks. So, and the fact that the Hidden Claw have picked it up, I think, let me just take a look at my notes. They have picked it up before, so they must feel quite confident on that. I'd expect them to have something prepared for this. It's not just going to be a bit of a random draft. I think they're going to come into this with a solid plan, and they're going to try their best to execute it.
Now, Towers of Doom, again, it's a map where you want a double soaker for top and mid, and then keep 4 pressure in the bottom lane, isn't it? So, do you think is that how the Hidden Claw are?
Quite possibly. I mean, we saw them pick up the Zul in the last game, and I mentioned it one last time. They didn't get the best double soak value from Zul, but I mean, even a similar kind of draft could work quite nicely on this. Having the Zul for the double soak, Greymane is very useful in that 4-man, especially for taking the camps on bot, and if you do get a shot at the opponent's fort on bot, he can tear that down pretty quickly. So yeah, we could see a similar kind of draft coming out of them. It wouldn't surprise me.
Yeah, I think we'll have to see how they do. I mean, yeah, you could have the Zul again, but then Zul would really have to be double soaking in that circumstance. So if you pick up the Zul for that offlaner here on Towers of Doom, I feel like it's incumbent on him to double soak that top and mid. But we'll see how Jixie Note, who seems to be the offlaner, chooses to play it. I see some people in the chat already trying to bet. The betting will be up in a couple of moments when the draft starts, so don't get too excited just yet. It will come shortly. But what was I saying? Oh yeah, so the
Yes.
Oh, and
just as I deserve.
Heroes at School resubscribing. You're on your 3rd month now. Excellent, brilliant stuff. Hi, Heroes at School. How are you doing, by the way? And for those of you who don't know, Heroes at School is another Heroes Lounge caster and you can check out some of his casts at his channel, twitch.tv/Heroes at School. And yeah, thank you again for resubbing. So, what was I saying about the draft? Oh yeah, Zul. Yeah, and other double soakers. We're going to see, I think, those prioritized fairly early in the draft. But don't forget that you've got to control the 4 as well. With maybe, Sylvanas pushing with Merqueen with those sappers. Something like that. Let's see what happens as we go into the draft of game number 2. And we will get that betting up and running.
So, might see slightly different bans here because the first 2 bans were Kael'thas and Johanna from each team, which more than likely map specific, would you say, and less likely to see them banned out here. Like I don't think either team has a massive preference for either of them, so I'm thinking that it was mainly because we were on Infernal Shrines.
Yeah, I think I tend to agree. But then I think we might just see like Tassadar and Cassia banned because it's they're just so meta. That's a nice ban there from Facepalm Tacticians, banning out that Azul, not wanting to go up against the double soak of him. But of course that leaves open other double soakers: Leoric, Urael, Murky, the hacker with the speed talent. There's Rag even. There's a bunch of heroes who can cover that role.
So yeah, we just see if Cassia or Tassadar are banned here, and it is Tassadar, as you predicted. A good choice, I think.
Yeah, I think that I felt that Tassadar was more impactful on the Cassia in that game, and I could be wrong, but Tassadar did a lot of damage, and when he had that Archon active, it just felt like the Hidden Claw couldn't really handle it a little bit. So definitely a solid ban from them, and there's the Rhaegar banning that Bloodlust idea.
Yeah.
So what do you ban? If you're the Hidden Claw here as the last ban.
Kael'thas apparently. So just not liking the living bomb potential, I guess.
The classic of Division 6 and 7, banning the
Yep.
Kael'thas. They love to prioritize that Kael'thas. Yeah, fair enough. I think we saw some stats in last season's draw show that Kael'thas is the most banned hero, and he's picked or banned in 50% of games or something like that in Division 6 and 7. But as you go up the divisions, the Kael'thas pick and ban rate falls off completely to the point where he was never banned in Division 1 last season in a single game. ETC first pick though, I really like that. Jack Sully on the ETC played really well there in game number 1. I really like that tank play. Aggressive but controlling. And there's the Li Ming from Meaty Batwing to go with Stukov on Alex the Kid.
No surprise to see Li Ming. I was going to predict it as well. One of their most picked heroes. It's a good map for her. She's strong against ETC, so doesn't surprise me there.
Yeah, and I like that drafting sense of they didn't pick up the Li Ming on Infernal Shrines, where the skeletons tend to block Li Ming projectiles. But here on Towers of Doom, where they can get, there's nothing really to obstruct that, and Li Ming can get a lot of flanking shots. Meaty Batwing picks up that Li Ming and gets the value.
Anduin and Valor, 2 comfort picks from Facepalm Tacticians here. We saw in a match me and you casted the other day, we saw some nice synergy between Anduin ETC with a sort of a power slide into light bombs, so I'm excited to see that here potentially.
Yeah, that could be really interesting.
An interesting combo.
And I think Wiz Dragon can't really afford to take Holy Word Salvation because the Li Ming Wave of Force and the Stukov Silence are just always going to be waiting to interrupt that. So yeah, it probably will be Light Bomb, and then as you say, you can just slide in with ETC. It'd be interesting to see if ETC gets punished in that situation, because I think in maybe higher divisions, an ETC who slides in too aggressively can really get destroyed. But maybe here in Division 7 they don't focus targets quite as effectively in order to bring down an ETC in that situation. So maybe Jack Sully will be able to get that value as the Mephisto ban and the Joanna ban there from the teams.
Yeah, I'm a little perplexed about the Mephisto ban. I can't. Oh no, they played him 3 times. Sorry. So I wouldn't have thought this would be one of his strongest maps, but clearly they don't want to play against it.
I think it's a reasonable ban, and the Joanna ban absolutely makes sense when you've got an ETC as your main frontliner. So virtual going for the Muradin. Now that, the same with the Blaze, that's an aggressive tank pickup. So virtual clearly a tank player who likes to dive in, get stuck in, and threaten the backliners of the opponent, rather than sitting back and providing peel. It's more about like get all up in their grill and be the focus of attention, and that's another way of tanking. And credit to virtual for the Blaze players last game, but the Reyna pick, Reyna's just a solid hero right now, and the Exterminator, got a little bit nerfed, but it's still strong. So strong wave clear support there. And there's the Leoric who can offer the double soak. And I tell you what, Leoric can handle Irel a lot better than Zul can in the 1v1.
That's very true. Some exciting drafts here. I'm struggling to see one that looks particularly better than the other, to be honest.
Well, I'm going to bet on the Hidden Claw, I think, and see how that goes, because I've seen somebody bet 1,000 points on Facepalm Tacticians, so I've got to go up against that. But there's big confidence there from Tank Funk, so let me get a bet in.
They know something that we don't, apparently. Maybe.
Well, maybe.
Oh, I was too late to bet.
Oh no, I'm too late to bet as well. No, I mistyped it, that's why. Disaster. So I haven't bet.
We need to sort out our priorities. Betting is very important, and talking about drafts is not.
Exactly.
Maybe I've got that the wrong way around. I'm not sure.
I believe. So, yeah. So Jixie Node going to be on the Lyric there. I think that will be some solid double soaking there. Notice that Meaty Batwing, who played the auto attacker Greymane last game, is now on the Ming, and Ryu, who played the Mage Kael'thas, is now on the Arena. So slight changes to the way things are being done there.
Yeah. We'll see how that goes. I assume that's just a comfort decision. It's good not to stick to roles too much.
We'll have to see as we go into game number 2 in this best of 3 series. And on the left, in blue, it's of course the Hidden Claw fighting to keep their playoff chances alive, with Alex the Kid on the Stukov, with Virtual on that aggressive Muradin, with Meaty Batwing on the Li Ming, Ryu on Reyna, and Jixie Note on the Lyric.
And on the right hand side we have the red team, Facepalm Tacticians. We have Scrat on Jaina, Jack Sully on ETC, Vidra on Valor, WS Dragon on Anduin, and Imgui on Urel again.
Imgui.
Imgui?
I mean, I've just made that up. But yeah,
it sounds like you know what you're talking about, so I like it.
I know nothing about this person. Sorry, Imgui. Forgive me for butchering your name. As immediately we see the soak of Facepalm Tacticians rotating bot lane, getting all that soak. Now, will Alex the Kid and Meaty Batwing be there in time to secure it? Yes, they will. So no actual soak advantage secured there by Facepalm Tacticians, despite the faster rotations. Now we see Vidra flirting with the idea of going up top, but not actually doing it. And so far, it's the 4 stacks who are rotating between mid and bot. I think that's because Leoric needs that Neil Peasants to get up and running for that double soaking. So probably level 4, that's when we're going to start seeing Leoric rotate. But in the meantime, is Jack Sully going to slow these rotations and deny some XP?
Definitely showing some nice aggression there. Siege camp's coming up now, so the red team are moving straight onto that as a 4-man. And the blue team, a little bit of hesitation, but they're getting onto theirs now. No aggression coming out from either team, just happily taking the camp, their respective camps.
Yeah, and I have to say both teams have done a really good job of rotating and securing XP, and we saw Leoric actually start this rotation without the Neil Peasants, and with that force a rotation from the 4 of Facepalm Tacticians, which means they're slightly late in dealing with this bot, but so far there's been a decent amount of clear done by the Hidden Claw. So the Sapper's slightly lower, less healthy here for Facepalm Tacticians than they are for the Hidden Claw. As ETC slides in, misses the Mjolnir, but steps back for now. And Jack Sully taking a fair chunk of damage from Meaty Batwing on the Li Ming, who's found one kill. It's a reset. Can't get another one though, because ETC is in the way. So 2 Sappers actually made it to explode there on the front wall of Facepalm Tacticians, and a slight XP lead now for the Hidden Claw.
It looks like Facepalm Tacticians might lose a bit of XP mid here. I don't think UL will get there quite in time. Might miss a couple of globes. 2 globes.
So we talked about Block Party last game, by the way.
Oh, I was just noticing that.
Okay, well, go ahead, talk me through the block of...
So yeah, I'm assuming they've picked up Block Party instead of Proc Rock in response to Jimmy. That Jimmy damage can be very painful. I thought, yeah, I think it's a good choice. I think we explained last game why we thought it was a good choice. So
yeah, absolutely. But and I note as well. Oh, by the way, as Muradin jumps in very aggressively, I'll pick up on that Muradin's talents choices in a second. As Virtual steps sideways, Leoric coming in wants to zone the Valor, but actually taking a fair chunk of damage from Vidra, who's also keeping that hatred well and truly alive. But can they zone long enough for Reyna to pick up the objective? Yes, they can.
that'll be a big wave on top that the Hidden Claw are going to miss out on now. But they did confirm the objective, so I'm not sure if that's a good trade or not.
Yeah, it looks like about or just one wave, so 7 minions of XP. Leoric might get 2 of them here. Yeah, got 2 of them. So fair enough. A nice idea from Facepalm Tacticians is give the objective, try and stall it and get a bit of soak. But actually, they didn't get a great amount of soak in that time. And if we look at the soak scores, actually Irel's a good 1k in the lead ahead of Leoric, but some of that slack was picked up by the 4-man of the Claw. So I was just going to comment about, because you know you were talking about the block party of ETC, Muradin went for the block talent at level 1 as well, the dwarf block. When he jumps in, he gets 4 block charges, and that'll really help him with his Valor, but not if he gets slid and rooted like that for so long. So much CC there from the opponents, and that is a dead Muradin.
Yeah, that was nicely chained, that crowd control there. It's very hard to kill a Muradin, as most people know. So, yeah, if they time the crowd control like that, then they can score kills. And well played to them as they steal the blue team's siege camp.
And they go for a slide onto Ming. Battle goes into for the follow-up damage, but the Anduin was not there to provide the roots that time, and nor was Sheena for the bonus burst. But the Sapper camp was still picked up, and it's going to start pushing onto that fort. No, maybe not, if Stukov and Muradin have anything to say about it, as Li Ming starts clearing up the Sappers.
Objective spawning here. Neither team has a big advantage. You wouldn't expect to see much fighting going on.
Well, you say that, but Irel's thinking about invading.
And Jaina's in a bit of trouble here in mid, but she should be able to get away.
And Ming stepped up so far looking for that kill that he's been punished. Meaty Batwing on the deck. Virtual now got to jump away for a second as well. Leoric and Reyna have stalled the top objective for a while, but with Li Ming respawning in a long time, and with level 10s knocking on the door here for Facepalm Tacticians, it looks like this is going to be the first ultra lead of the game for Facepalm Tacticians as their level 10s roll in.
Yeah, I was expecting a fairly passive sort of objective phase there, but Jaina baited the Li Ming into overextending, and she got punished for it. So if it was intentional, then very nicely done.
Being overextended,
in danger.
That's the slide light bomb that you were talking about. In fact, he didn't need it in that case because he was dead before the light bomb actually landed. But yeah, we see that that's the combination they want to go through. So well spotted there by you in the draft pop in. But yeah, another rotation gank onto Stukov. So they're really good, I think, Facepalm Tactician at finding these kind of CC chain kills, just blowing up a single target. And that's something they really have been excelling on, and actually in both games 1 and 2. And I think in game number 1, the Hidden Claw had quite a tanky draft, so they could have, they could afford to take some of that. It's a lot harder to take down Azul or a Blaze than it is to take down like a Stukov, for example. So we'll see how that works out this game.
It'll be interesting to see how the Hidden Claw come online at 10. They've got Entomb, they've got Stukov Silences, so a lot of potential there to, you know, kill an ETC perhaps. If he gets stuck in that silence, he could be in trouble.
Actually, maybe he's going to be in trouble right now. He slides in fact. The Light Bomb's a little bit late. The Ring of Frost doesn't quite catch on to anybody. Muradin's popped Avatar, but he's still very healthy. The swipes use from Stukov to disengage. I thought maybe that this might be a time that the Hidden Claw want to engage with his Avatar, but there's the Mosh Pit. Li Ming's caught in it, so she doesn't have the interrupt, and Loreno didn't have his Q available either, so one kill secured with the Mosh Pit by Jack Sully.
Yeah, and they've got that bottom fort just in time for Urel to channel the objective, and that's 5 more shots heading towards the core of the Hidden Claw. And it looks like the red team might invade the blue team siege camp once again here. Li Ming's only just coming back now, so they should have plenty of space to do that.
Yeah, and that's going to be picked up easily enough. I mean, again, we see nice stuns from Muradin there, and nice silence from Alex the Kid to follow. But it's not really enough to secure kills, and ETC slides in so aggressive, Jack Sully. He's running out of mana though. He might struggle here. Can they focus someone here? Can they catch the Jaina? Li Ming wants to dive deep. The tower starts shooting. Wave of Force secures the kill, and that's one retake. Can they start putting pressure onto Jack Sully now? But they've got to deal with these sappers, which are marching towards the core, as Lyric is against 2 people effectively, the Vala and Nirel both soaking, and that's why this aggressive play from the Hidden Claw was so effective.
Yeah, it surprised me to see Facepalm Tacticians send Valor and Anduin mid, and then meanwhile ETC and Jaina were kind of standing up trying to push that Sapper camp in. Hidden Claw must have had some map awareness there, saw that they were mid and, you know, took the opportunity, and they got the kills and got the fort back.
Yep, absolutely. So great stuff there from them, as Valor chases, wants to catch on to Jixie Note, but doesn't quite secure the kill. So, all things being said, the Hidden Claw have stabilized the game. They're no longer under the same kind of pressure they were. Virtual's got to say, let's go to these altars, let's try and win a big fight at these altars. This is their moment. The Mosh Pit is going to be back up in time for the fight though, unfortunately, but they are even talents, and they do have all their heroics up available apart from the Hyperion.
Yep. Leoric clearing out the Sapper camp up top, leaving his team at a bit of a disadvantage at the start of this objective. He's only just coming down now.
Light Bomb from Irel catches onto Reyna with the roots from Anduin to follow, and Stukov does not have a cleanse deal. That Ring of Frost secures the kill onto Ryu. ETC sniffing for the Mosh Pit, wants to catch either Stukov or Ming, or both, but doesn't need the Mosh Pit just now. Tried to catch onto Ming, but she blinks to safety. Clever play from BT Batwing, and avoids the death from Vala as well. But all things being equal, still 2 altars have been picked up once more by Facepalm Tacticians, who are now going to be 9 points in the lead.
Leoric picked up the middle one actually.
Oh!
Yes, to give 4 shots towards Facepalm Tacticians' goal.
That's my mistake then, yeah. I thought Irel was there dealing with that, but fair enough. So, again, I can't help but feel though, so yes, they secured an altar, and that is good. But I can't help but feel the Hidden Claw missed their chance to force the fight there, to have the fight on their terms, because that was the moment when they were even talents, right? And they were, when you're down a level, but on even talents, that's probably a good time to take a fight before the enemy can get to a talent advantage, as the boss is picked up by Irel and Bala, bringing that core health down to 15 now for the Hidden Claw.
Yep. So they've got some nice control on bot. They're going to have the camp pushing in now. They've got the top 4 sort of a little bit less than a quarter health as well, so the red team could choose to take that at some point. Put more pressure on there, perhaps.
There has been a pause, so we'll just quickly switch back to our beautiful faces. This is a live shot of Poppin's face as he reacts to the...
My lips aren't moving, but that's just a skill of mine.
Yeah, it's one of the advantages of having a very pointy head. So,
Yes.
I mean, do you agree with my assessment? I was saying, that maybe the Hidden Claw should have really taken the fight to their opponents there when they were even talents.
I agree. Yeah, I think they should have. I think part of the issue there, I think they wanted to clear out the camp on top. So Leoric was a bit slow getting to the fight. So maybe they should have just forced the fight. Maybe accepted a bit of siege damage on top and taken the even fight. But they let their opponents get 16 and sort of snowballing against them at the moment. I think once they hit 16, they need to take your advice and be aggressive. Take the fights while you can before your opponent gets 20, and hopefully claw their way back into this with this claw that has been hidden up until this point.
Yeah, I agree, and I think it was a tough situation for them as Ryu gets caught out here. Maybe not. Nice little knockback from Ryu there. Saves their life, so good play there. But these sappers are still coming. Swipes from Stukov, buys a bit more time, but this wave needs to be cleared here, and with Reina on no health, they might struggle. Li Ming's trying to do what she can, and in comes ETC with a slide. He's got the light bomb available. It hits onto Li Ming, but she's in the death zone, so nobody can follow up. But the sapper does get in though, brings that core down to 13 HP.
Meanwhile, Valor does confirm that top fort, as we mentioned a moment ago. So a lot of towers on the side of Facepalm Tacticians here. Even if they give away an altar, it's only 2 shots, so...
Well, and more importantly, if they lose 2 altars, it's GG here. They've got to contest this top right one, and right now, Anduin's going straight for it. It's game point. Irrel deliberately leading them away. I don't think they've realised it's going to be game. It's GG, I think. Anduin picks it up. GG, well played, goes over to Facepalm Tacticians with a stunning 2-0 victory.
Very nicely done. They must have been sort of doing their maths during the pause there and thinking, right, if we get this top fort, we just get 2 of these altars and we win. And, well, they had a plan and they must have stuck to it. Well played.
Yeah, I mean, and credit to Facepalm Tacticians. I think the Hidden Claw were a little bit panicked at the end there, trying to force... they were so insistent that they get that Irel kill. They were like, this is our moment to win a fight, but they weren't looking at what are the win conditions of our opponents. And ultimately, that meant they lost the game. Still, good effort from the Hidden Claw, who showed some real tenacity in some of these fights. I mean, what do you think the big takeaway should be for them as they go through the rest of the season?
I mean, we saw some very good play from them. And they've definitely got some good team fighting skill. They just need to be a bit more decisive, especially when it comes to levels and advantages. There was, as you pointed out a few times, just every so often they could have just maybe forced a fight and fought on even terms, but they didn't always do that. I think that was the difference between the 2 teams here, to be honest. So something to work on. I think they looked a good team, but
yeah,
a bit more decisiveness.
I agree. I think just a little bit more of kind of calling when do we need to force a fight on, and I think when the fights happened, they looked decent, but it was just about that decision making kind of maybe let them down a touch there. And I think that might mean that the Hidden Claw no longer has a realistic chance of making it to the Rare Cup, which, as we know, is the top 8 teams from Division 7 who go up against the top 8 teams of Division 6. And I think probably with now it looks like only 3 wins out of 8, I think it's probably too late for the Hidden Claw. But Facepalm Tacticians in with a very solid chance now, as they've got 5 match wins out of their 8 series played.
Yeah.
So that brings to a close the Heroes Lounge Super Sunday Showdown. Any thoughts from you, Poppin, the Fresh Prince of the North of England, before we head off?
No, it's just an entertaining series. Credit to Facepalm Tacticians. They were playing with 2 subs today, including without the captain Black Milk, so I think it was good that they got the win. Very well played. It can't be easy playing with 2 subs, so But yeah, no, it was a fun match to watch. Well played to both teams, and good luck for the rest of the season to both of them.
Yeah, absolutely, and I think it's been a great performance from both of these teams. But yeah, it seems like only Facepalm Tacticians will have a chance of going through to that rare cup. So that is, as I say, the end of the Heroes Lounge Super Sunday Showdown for this week. We have another one next Sunday, of course. Don't forget, the Method Mayhem Cups every Tuesday are still going on, and you can sign up for those on heroeslounge.gg. And there's more information about Method Mayhem, which is a weekly leading into monthly cup followed by tournament where you can win some real prize money and compete against some of the best teams in Europe. For North America, if you're not in Europe, don't forget that Heroes Lounge NA signups are still open, and they will be open until I think the 5th of July. I keep saying the 5th of July about lots of things, so I hope I've not just misremembered that date. But I think it is, the 5th of July is when the signups for Heroes Lounge Season 5 North America will end. If you're looking to sign up for Heroes Lounge Season 13 EU, then wait a couple of weeks, because I think that's still not open yet, but because the season is still ongoing. And I think that's going to start in a while.
I just checked, and NA signups close on the 21st of June, so...
Oh, that's next week!
That is next week.
5th of July is when the season starts. Okay, so yes. No, if you're in NA, get signing up now. Don't wait around for 3 weeks. Yeah, don't listen to me. Get on heroeslounge.gg, all the information's on there. Never trust anything I say. And I think on that bombshell, we should probably end the show. Thank you very much for watching, and of course follow the channel, and we will have more Heroes Lounge Super Sunday Showdown content next Sunday. Good night.
Bye bye.